Hello. Hey, if you're watching this, there's a good chance that you own a Taylor guitar and perhaps you're not quite satisfied with the output of your expression system. What I have here is a Taylor 918E, which came with the Expression 1 system. You can tell because it doesn't have the 3 holes in the bridge here. But the expression system, it's a good system. It's quality. It produces a nice sound, but it, in my estimation, is not an authentic acoustic guitar sound like you would hear live through a Neumann amp in a studio type thing. Of course, there's not much that does match that. But I've always been kind of looking for the holy grail of sound. I've got a Dan Crary as well, which has this a dual source system that's made by LR Baggs. I'm not sure if Taylor put that in there originally. I think I bought it with the Baggs in there, the dual source. Anyway, I got to thinking about a few days ago whether or not it would be possible to add a microphone to the expression system. And specifically, I wanted to keep the expression system intact and ideally leave the controls intact and not have to drill a new hole for a new end jack, and somehow utilize just the existing hole in the battery compartment back here, the existing jack. And so I was able to do that. I'll share with you in a second how that is done, and I'll provide a follow-up video if there's any interest in more of the mechanics of exactly how the modification is done. But just to give you kind of a high-level example of the sound improvement, I'm not sure this is going to come across too well with my GoPro microphone there, but we'll give it a shot. So this is just the pure Expression 1 system. Strumming, a little bit loud. I'm sorry. Here's the pure expression system. Not too bad, but it kind of missing the shimmer and the transparency that I like to hear in a guitar sound. So now I can roll on a little bit. You can see I have the volume control here for the LR Baggs. I should mention that. I'm using the Lyric internal microphone, and with that rolled on, not too far, but if it's coming across live, the difference is pretty astounding. Let me take it back off and I'll play some finger, what should I do here, something and now with the Lyric. So again, if you heard this live, you would definitely be aware that there's a difference. I'm not sure if this is coming across. But let me show you what I did. So, and by the way, this is being played through, I've got a Gensband's dual channel amp. Unplug that. But the Taylor expression system, Expression 1, and 2 probably for that matter, but I've got the 1 here that came with this guitar. It can utilize a TRS or stereo jack, and so you've got the tip, you've got the ring, and you've got the sleeve. And most people would just plug a standard mono signal cable, which has got just this section and this section. The ring part is kind of combined into the sleeve part on a standard jack. And that's great. I think the concept is that if you want to be the pure audiophile, that you'd use a TRS in your expression system, and what you're receiving on the tip and on the ring are opposing signals that create a balanced signal that has, I guess, less line interference over a long run. But because you're able to use a standard mono jack, basically that middle signal gets canceled out because it gets grounded out, and you can really operate your expression system quite nicely without that signal needing to be present. So I got the idea that if I could get into the circuit board on the expression system and basically free up the ring position of the jack, that I'd be able to use that for a new pickup system, a completely separate signal, and then using the common ground with the expression system. Didn't know if it would work. I thought I'd take a shot, and I'm actually quite pleased with how it turned out. So the concept then is that I have the original expression system being sent through the tip. I've got the original expression system ground going through the sleeve here. I've got the new Baggs Lyric hot signal. I think the video cut out there for a second, but be that as it may, let me continue on here. So this is a picture of the battery compartment and then the circuit board that is connected to that. So this is the jack is here, and this is what the underside of that circuit board looks like. So a couple things to note here. First of all, I wanted to power my Lyric system with the same battery that we're using in the guitar originally, so I didn't have to have a second power source. And so you can see here I've got, the Lyric power supply, positive and negative. So if you trace back, there's 4 nodes here. I don't know, I'm not an electrician, so I don't know what these are called. But the third one from the top here in my illustration is actually your positive connection. Your ground or your negative is this 4th one. And this is probably the most difficult part of the whole application, is that I cut off the leads to the battery pack from the Lyric and soldered the plus side of that cable to this 3rd node. The negative gets soldered to this 4th one. And you have to be fairly careful that you don't let the solder kind of bleed over. You have to make sure you've got a discrete little connection, that you're not shorting anything out. But with that's probably the most difficult part of this, just given you're working with a tight spot. And then as far as the signal itself, this is the audio connection. So basically what I did was I utilized the end pin jack that came with the Lyric system, and I decided that the easiest way to connect, because there's some electronics internal to that jack that I wanted to preserve, and so it wasn't as simple as just cutting a few wires and splicing them in. What I had to do was actually use a mono jack that I inserted into the Lyric system, into the female end of the Lyric jack, and then I cut off the wires that were coming from that jack and isolated the tip, the wire that runs to the tip, and then the wire that runs to the sleeve. Again, it's a mono jack. And so those wires then I soldered in. The ground here I show as being the common ground with the Taylor system. The tip, remember we freed up the space. Let me grab that if I can. Here's our jack. So the ring position here corresponds to this solder joint. Whoops, sorry about that. This solder joint right here. So I've got a wire that's coming in from the body of the guitar. That basically, it has the microphone pickup. It has the volume wheel for the Lyric system, and so all of that electronics feeds into the N-pin jack, which I Velcroed inside the guitar. I put a mono jack into that, cut off the ends, and took the tip position of that, soldered it here. I took the sleeve position and soldered it right here. So with that solder connection, 1, 2, and with this solder connection here, I guess there's 4 points that need to be soldered. That's really the extent of what needs to happen. And you're going to end up with a system that looks identical to kind of the factory Taylor Expression system with no additional holes whatsoever. I'm able to make use of the existing Taylor volume and treble and bass controls. There's no change there. I've got, I don't know if you can see that, but here's the tone wheel that comes with the lyric system. I'm sorry, it's the volume control. And basically I do onboard blending, so I can blend it however much I want of each of the signals right here. If I want more mic, I just roll this up or back if it's feeding back. And then the expression system, I use the expression volume for that. You can get an outboard blender that will blend the two signals into one if you need to go just mono into a DI or something that for your particular sound needs. But that's pretty much the extent of it. If this has much interest, and if people would like to have a little bit more of a walkthrough as to kind of a paint by numbers how we actually get through this from start to finish, I'd be happy to post that. Just let me know in the comments, and if there's enough interest, I will follow up with that. So God bless. Thanks for watching. Bye.